This is Fred Beck from Fred Talks Fighting, proudly sponsored by Empire Fight Store. And today I'm very lucky, joined once again by Peter Mcdonagh. Peter, how have you been, mate? What have you been up to?
Yeah, very good, Fred. I missed the boxing last night due to going out on the Guinness with Ricky Hatton. We ended up having a good night out in London. So we had a real good laugh. But I caught up with the boxing this morning. My phone got absolutely blown up last night. We cannot wait to see what you say on Voice from the Corner. We cannot. But this is a recurring occurrence, isn't it? You know, I'm trying to use long words here, like these cheerleader trainers, whatever you want to call them. You know, people try and make boxing a lot more technical than what it really is now. But I witnessed this morning when I watched the fight, I witnessed the greatest robbery since the great train robbery with Ronnie Biggs. You know, it was an absolute joke. What did I think of the fight? Will I watch the fight again? No, I won't. But it was an excellent defensive masterclass. Boring, but effective by Jack Catterall. And as they say, you're better off winning boring than losing exciting. Like I say, it was a defensive masterclass by Jack Catterall. Defensive masterclass. Made him miss, made him pay. Was there loads of punches? Not really, but he done what he had to do. Very much like Klitschko versus Tyson Fury. Like I said, I had it 9 rounds, 9 rounds to Catterall, 2 rounds to Taylor with a draw round. So that is a serious robbery. But how do we score boxing? What are the regulations in boxing? You know, this is what I keep going back to. You know how many times I've banged on about this, and people feel, oh, there he goes again. He's starting again of this and that. But we're seeing it now with our own eyes. We're losing fans left, right, and centre in boxing due to this. You know, it's not Josh Taylor's fault that he got the decision. It's not his fault, yeah? But let me tell you something. If it's not his fault, whose fault is it? Whose hands do we put this in? So how long have I been saying it for? That why don't they filter ex-professional boxers to become judges, to become referees? We know Ian John Lewis was an ex-fighter, but he must have been hit a lot of times to have Taylor win that fight by 3 rounds. What can I say? Like I say, if you filter fighters through this process, yeah, you will get the likes of me that will come on IFL. Fred talks fight. What is it? Fred talks fighting, isn't it? Right? Fred talks fighting. They'll come on these channels, yeah. And you can ask me, why did you score that fight like that? And I can tell you, how can we get these judges and they can walk away after a kid that's been doing it his whole life and been robbed blind?
Boxing is the only thing where you can kind of rob someone from what they've achieved, from the money they make to go on in their career, the success they're going to have. Boxing is the only thing you can rob someone from that and get away with it, really, isn't it?
You know what it is, Fred? I know I might be going on a tangent here and off on one again, but look, when we get to half time in football, yeah, right? You want to be an interviewer, yeah? So you're doing the interviewing side of things, yeah, right? So you're pass the buck onto the person that's supposed to know what he's talking about, yeah, right? And that's what happens in football. So you get a presenter and then he'll go to Roy Keane, he'll go to, mate, Roy Keane, Graham Souness, Micah Richards. Mate, they ain't just come out of Poundland, mate, and got a job on Sky Sports. They've done it their whole life. They've done it their whole life. And this is the thing. They don't want people. They don't want people like me talking the way I'm talking, yeah? Because I'm ruining the fast that's going on. But we've got Adam Smith who's talking like it now. We've got Johnny Nelson who's talking. How long has it took these people to wake up and smell the coffee? Do you know what I mean? How long has it taken? We've been doing it on these channels for God knows how long. I get certain channels now. Shout out to all you channels out there that don't have me on. Because I'm telling the truth. I'm telling the truth. And you know what made me change my mind? I've said to you all week. I've said to you for the last 3 months, Catterall beats Taylor. But you know what made me change my mind? John Ryder versus Jacobs. I thought if it's merely close, they're going to give it the other way. But it weren't even merely close. It weren't even merely close. But I did get my prediction right. I said Taylor's going to have to get off the ground to win the fight, right? And Taylor's never been on the floor before. But you know what it is? You know what it is, though, Fred? Because I know boxing. I know boxing. I understand boxing. You know, we've got these people in the corner. Ben Davison's doing well. Young man, he's doing well. We've got these people in the corner. Oh, he's got Mr. Wireless or whatever his name is in the corner, some DJ or whatever he is. And he's the one that he watches all the fights and he picks up the bad points. Mate, there's a difference in picking up the bad points and seeing what your fighter can really do. Because that's what a coach should be doing. A coach should look at the bad points and think, like, pick up the weak points of the other fighter and think, can my fighter really do that, though? Because it was very simple what Taylor had to do in that fight. Taylor struggles with southpaws. So he had to take that distance away. But you know what he was doing? His hands were here, he was blocking, and when he was coming into distance, his hands were coming there and he was getting caught. Instead of just keeping his hands there, short, and a little short, everything should have been off the right hand. Everything should have been off the right hand. He was trying to throw his left hand, but he was shoulder on. He was shoulder on to Catterall. He was shoulder on. So all he could do was hit him around the back. Everything should have been short, off the right hand, touch. Everything should have been short. And that's what he should have done. He should have kept that steady pressure on. Instead, he kept giving him that distance. He kept giving him that movement. Because you know why? Because they keep doing these same drills on the pads, right? But pads don't hit back. That's the problem. I don't know how many people I have to tell about pom-poms, yeah? Cheerleaders and pom-poms, that's all we've got in professional boxing. We ain't got real people in it that can say it as it is, you know? But when we get good fighters, they've got an understanding with their own mind of what they're doing. But I've always said it. We're getting rough diamonds turning professional, right? And we're getting cheerleaders, backslappers, and God knows what else. And they're turning that rough diamond into a lump of shit and rolling it in glitter. That's all they're doing. You know, they're not building on what they've got. That's why we've got the likes of Golovkin, Canelo, Mayweather. You know these because you know what, they've had that foundation since they was growing up. They've kept the same foundation. All of a sudden, a fighter turns professional, and they go with this cheerleader backslapper, whatever you want to call him, who just finished a job in Poundland, yeah, straight into boxing, straight into professional boxing, yeah, right. Holds the pads a couple of times. People say he's great, yeah. All of a sudden, yeah, he does this to me, he does that to me. What about the poor geezer's giving you 20 years of his life? And you ain't even mentioned it. How many people mention their amateur coaches? None of them. This is to all you fighters out there, because it's disrespectful, mate. And remember where you come from. Everyone should always remember where they come from. You know what I mean? Do you know why I get upset? Because I'm passionate. I'm passionate about the sport I love. I'm passionate about that sport I love. Do you know what I mean? And people go to me, oh, you know, you're mad. Mate, I talk sense. I don't talk stupidness. I talk sense. And the thing is, all these cheerleader backslappers are ruining the game. But I promise you this, the people that are ruining the game really are people like us, because we're walking away from it. Well, we shouldn't be walking away from it. We should be involved in this game. Because you know what it is, Fred? People turn around and go, yeah, but if you become a judge or whatever, yeah, you might give it to the geezer you like. No, I disagree, because I've been robbed. I understand what it's like to be robbed. Everything taken away from you, right? Catterall now, who's he going to fight next? Who knows? Because Taylor will just move up, you know? So, but we'll explain why we've scored it like that, why we've scored the fight like that. You know what I mean? It weren't even merely close, was it? It wasn't even a merely close fight.
What do you think will happen now, Peter, to the judges that gave it to Taylor, or who gave it so wide to Taylor when most people, the majority of people think that Catterall won? Do you think there'll be any repercussions to the judges?
No. And I'll tell you why. Through experience again. When they pushed each other at the weigh-in, yeah, what's going to happen? Nothing. I got 8-month ban for that. 8-month ban. Why did I get an 8-month ban? See, what is the jurisdiction? What did I get banned for? Pushing someone. Mate, we're going to have a fight next week, like the next day, going to punch your head in. Surely that's got to be worse than pushing someone. You know what it is? Again, Jack, what it is, right, is this, right, Fred? I'm telling you, basically, boxing is simplicity, right? You're doing what you're doing because you're saying, right, I want to be an interviewer. right? So you're working on what you're doing, yeah, right? And you're doing it to the best of your knowledge. With boxing, these people get involved in boxing, yeah? Because listen, I can't sit there and name him, and him, mate, because there's millions of them. They're like ants. They're like ants. All of a sudden, a new one comes along, a new one comes along. Where they come from, I don't know. Surely these people should be questioned where they've come from. What's your background? What have you done? I'm not saying you've got been punched in the mouth. I'm not saying you've got to, but you've got to have some sort of background where you've been involved in boxing. You've shown a young kid how to hold his feet, a young kid how to hold his hands up. Do you know what I mean? There's a lot to boxing, but it's very, very simple. And I keep saying it to people. If you want to become the best, yeah, you've got to be methodical, yeah? Every day is repetitive. Every day is the same things because you're going over drill, over drill, over drill. A jab gets you around the world. The right hand gets you around the block, yeah? It's common sense, right? It's not hard. So when we look at the best fighter out there, which our class Taylor as the pound-for-pound best fighter at one point, yeah, now on that performance, whether he's dead at weight, what, I don't know. But when we look at the best fighter out there, because I never included heavyweights, it's Tyson Fury. Because he's methodical and keeps things simple. And the only reason he got dropped by Wilder is because of his stupidity. If he was clever, Wilder wouldn't have hit him. Tyson can be clever. But he tries to make a little bit of excitement for fighters. But believe me, Dylan White will be punching thin air. He'll be punching thin air. It's what Tyson wants to turn up. But if you say to Tyson, keep it methodical and simple, don't matter whether it's boring, long as you win. That's all that matters. Because when, like I say, losing, I've lost loads of times, losing excitingly. Great fights I was in, losing excitedly. But what does that mean? No one cares. It's a loss. You know, in a week's time, people forget about, sorry to say, people forget about Catterall. Taylor moves on to the next one. He fights Crawford. He fights this person. He fights that person. So, will anything be done about it? No. Because from the top to the bottom, that's the top and bottom of it. From the top to the bottom, what is the regulations? Now, be honest, Fred. I know you want to get into boxing and you want to do what you want to do in boxing. But be honest. How many cracks can you see in the game now? You as a young 17-year-old kid, how many cracks can you see in the game? And you've only been in it not a long time at all.
I have started to notice a few things here. I always think to myself, in 4 weeks' time, are people still going to be talking about? People still going to be talking about it, or they've moved on? That's what
a week. Jacob's rider was forgotten about because now we've got a Josh Taylor and Catterall fight, and then the next fight we'll be talking about. Someone will have their pants pulled down. They might just pull their pants down in the ring and say we're just going to have you over, because you know what? You can't blame that. I don't blame that judge. I don't blame this judge. I don't blame that referee. I just blame the whole setup of what we're doing. Regulation. Listen, the only sport that never got nothing from the government in lockdown was boxing. Why didn't it get nothing from what boxing does for us, people? It makes us helps us in life. It helps us through hard struggles in life. How can I sit there and say I hate boxing? I hate the business of it, but how can I say, of course I can't hate boxing. Boxing's given me an opportunity. Boxing's been great for me, you know. At the end of the day, it's been great for me. So it's the business side of it. And let's not blame Eddie Young. Let's not blame Frank Warren. I'm going to name a few now because I don't want to put one name out there. Frank Warren, all these people that are involved in it. Let's not blame them. Let's just blame the whole setup of it. Is it the British Boxing Board of Control or out of control? I don't know.
Where do you think?
Is it in too much of a mess? Is it in too much of a mess? It's going to take so long to clear up, because it's not, Fred. It's not getting better. It's getting worse. And if you ain't seeing that, right, and people ain't seeing that, they're mad in the head, because it's getting worse. It ain't getting better. When people go, we need young blood in boxing, we need this in boxing, we need that in boxing. Whether they're young, they're old, they're in a wheelchair, or whatever they are. At the end of the day, if someone's talking boxing, yeah, and talking it rightly, it don't matter who you are. You know what I mean? It don't matter who you are. Someone's on their deathbed. At the end of the day, but the thing is, people just paper over all these cracks. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, I know, but this, but that, but this. But you've got to be honest on who you think won something. Not if you like him or he's the nicest geezer in the world or he got robbed last week. It don't matter, does it? It don't matter because people have just got to open up and be honest. You know, where was I last night? That was a massive fight, big fight. You know, Taylor, one of the best pound-for-pound fighters in the world. Where was I? Having a few Guinnesses. Because you know why? Not interested. And I've had to come back, listen to all them messages on my phone, yeah, and rewatch it this morning. You know, I love boxing. I love watching boxing, but I don't like the politics within it. You know, everybody's trying to do their bit to make it better again, but it's simple. All we need is a simple foundation. I don't know how long I've said this for. I've turned around and said, when the future, the current, and the has-been fighters, yeah, put them through an apprenticeship, yeah. Every other job in the world, you need an apprenticeship. If you're going to go and do the Queen's toilet at Buckingham Palace, yeah, they're not going to stick a geezer in there that's watch someone change the toilet a few times on YouTube. They're going to stick someone in there with 20 years experience, you know. And this, listen, I had a brain tumour, right? It's a little bit similar to having a brain tumour. Are you going to have someone messing around with your head that's watched it on YouTube? No, you're not. You're going to have someone that's been experienced in what they've done. And this is the problem. We're getting these pound-land people that are getting into boxing. Ain't even got to show nothing, no CV, nothing of where they come from, what they're about. Just walk straight into it off the street. Now, I love chancers. I'm a chancer. Everybody's a chancer in life. But I'm not putting anyone down. But all of a sudden, they've got the biggest opinion in the world, right? A couple of people have come into boxing lately, right? Everyone's saying they're idiots, they're this, they're that. All of a sudden, they get a little bit of a name and people are bowing down to them. And what they try and do is people that have been in boxing, they try and belittle them people, yeah, and push them down. So we don't want them people involved because they really do know what they're talking about. But listen, honesty is the best policy. Honesty is the best policy. And I'll always give someone my honest opinion on something. You know, again, fair play to Josh Taylor. He's retained his titles. It's nothing to do with Josh Taylor. You know what I mean? It weren't Josh Taylor's dad as a judge, was it? Or whatever. So fair play to him. And you know, commiserations to Jack Catterall. But I'm telling you, a week, maybe 10 days, maybe just a week down the line, same thing will be happening again on Sky. The same thing again be happening on The Zone. Same thing again will be happening on Channel 5. Same thing will be happening again on BT. It happens. That's what happens. And we've had to learn to live with it. That's why I wasn't interested in standing and watching that fight last night. And that's the truth of it. You know, if it was a spectacle and it was, you know, I like to see the underdog. I like to see the underdog because I know how hard it is for the underdog. Do you know what I mean? Because the underdog's 3 rounds down before he even gets in there. I've been the underdog. I've been robbed more times than Barclays Bank, and I know what it feels like. I know what it feels like, you know. So, what's the point of me just keep wasting my breath? I say it all the time. People go, here we go again. And I don't want to be negative about it. I want to be positive about it. I don't want to be negative about it. But I know what it feels like to be robbed. I know what it feels like for things to be taken away from you. Do you know what I mean? Oh, maybe next time. Oh, maybe next time. Do you know what I mean? It's the sport, the business, not the sport. Boxing as amateurs is a sport. As a professional, it's a business. It needs to change. And if it don't change, it's not going to happen. It ain't got a business model. It ain't got an outline on what the business model is. What is the business model? You're going to get to a level and get robbed. You know what I mean? You might as well go and just rob out of a shop or something. Because it's just... I'm sorry, I'm taking away the criminal side of things. I don't want people to go robbing out in shops. But you know what? That's what they're doing. That's what they're blatantly doing. You know what I mean? You're not getting a fair decision. Why can't we have VAR? Why can't we have 3 ex-fighters sitting behind the screen watching this fight? And then all things. And then before it goes to and then they go, right, boom. So how have you scored it like that? Because if you ask them how they've scored it like that, they won't be able to tell you. They won't be able to tell you. They won't. How can these people tell you if most of them ain't even been there? You know, we do get superstars in certain sports or whatever that ain't ever played football, or ain't ever boxed, or ain't ever, what's it called? Do you know what I mean? But the majority of people that are in a sport or in a business know what they're doing. Because you look at the top people in business, you go, you know what? He ain't got a clue what he's talking about. But he's got a totally different way of looking at things. But he does know what he's talking about. Do you know what I mean? But again, it's hard. It's hard to take. But I spoke to a few top fighters, former world champions, and things like that. And I've said, look, we've got to do something about this. We've got to get back involved. Let's swallow that bitter pill of the way we was treated or whatever. We got to get back involved, and we got to help the next generation and the generation after that to get back involved. And we're the ones that have got to make boxing the sport it should be. You know, we know it's a business, like I say, but that fight wasn't even merely close. You wouldn't even need a jury if you was in the Old Bailey for that fight. You wouldn't even need a jury. That would have been 25 years straight away. You know? So, like I said, we need a system. This is a massive thing, Fred. We need a system. And the system's got to be, if a fighter's coming through, what do fighters know apart from fighting? Nothing. Half of them ain't got educations. 80% of them ain't got educations, right? So let's educate these fighters. Let's say, take a judge's course as you're running through your career, parallel your career. So when it's all over, you don't go home to your wife, a little kid running around in a shitty nappy because you've got no money, yeah, and be told, I can't fight anymore. And then she starts screaming at you and says, you got to go out and get a job. And the thing is, I never had that experience, but a lot of fighters do, yeah? And you got to go out and get a job. And before you know it, they're out drinking, they're out, do you know what I mean? You know, and they spiral out of control. And then they're lost. They don't know what they're going to do. And this is the problem. Everyone talks about, you know, mental health. Mental health in boxing is probably one of the worst things. And people don't open up about that, you know? And people need to open up more about that. And the boxing family. How many people really ring you? I've kept myself relevant in boxing. That's why I'm still around people in boxing. But how many people ring people?
All right, now it looks like someone's ringing you.
Yeah, I've done it off. Yeah, sorry. Go back to what we were saying then. How many people, the boxing family, how many people really do ring you? I'm one of the lucky ones that I get a lot of people ring me. And obviously, because I've kept myself relevant within the sport. And I've kept myself relevant like a rosebush form, because it needs to change. It needs to change. If it don't change, and we're getting the higher mighties now. People class them as the higher mighties. What clue they've got about boxing, I don't know. But we're getting the higher mighties now, all shouting and screaming, that's a robbery, this is that. What are they going to do about it? They'll forget about it next week. We're going to go to the board. The board will just turn around and say, that is that man's opinion. So where is the outlay of what boxing really is? Boxing's about hit and not be hit. It's very, very simple, right? That was an absolute masterclass Mayweather performance by Jack Catterall. You can see Jack Catterall's worked loads of rounds of Mayweather. I was there when he was sparring Pacquiao. Yeah, sparring for Pacquiao, right? He was sparring with Mayweather, Canelo, right? The thing is, the only reason I told everyone weeks and weeks, I said he beats him. But the only thing that turned my head was the judges in last week's performance. Listen, the robbery weren't like that, but mate, that. I don't know. Why did he get a point taken off him anyway, Catterall?
I think it was for.
Why?
I think it's for holding.
Well, they're both doing that. Right away through the fight. Referee lost control after about 3 or 4 rounds. You know what I mean? Let's be honest. It was more like a UFC fight, wasn't it? It was more like a UFC fight. Every time, but you do get that with southpaws sometimes. You get tangling up and all that sort of stuff because it's 2 southpaws. But again, irrelevant of what I say, irrelevant of what you say. Today, he's going to be waking up without them belts in his bed, you know, and he should be waking up with them belts in his bed, Catterall. Like I say, will it change? I keep saying all the time, commentators, pundits should be working for Eddie Young, Frank Warren, Adam Smith, all them. Pundits and commentators should be working for the broadcaster, right? He shouldn't be worried what Eddie Young's going to say afterwards to sack him or whatever, or the next person. They should be working for a broadcaster. So it should be more fair. Because what everyone's sitting there now, they're thinking, What happened there? How did that get scored? What happened there? But because there's no one explaining afterwards why they scored it like that. There's no one explaining afterwards, punditry-wise. They're all screaming and shouting robbery. Tell the people why it was a robbery. Tell the people why it was a robbery. Tell us how you score it. Do you know what I mean? Because the thing is, how I scored it in the end was, so I was listening to the American commentary. I scored it in the end was, Taylor was going forward, Catterall was moving back, yeah, and they give it to him on aggression. How can you give it to someone on aggression when they've been hit with 50 punches and they've only, and the other fighters only took them one? It don't make sense. Mate, I think there was there 300 punches thrown? 300 punches in a light welterweight title fight, like unification. Madness. You usually get 1,000 punches thrown in a light welterweight fight. But he did control it well. I thought Catterall controlled the ring well. Taylor didn't know what to do. But I got told while sparring was going on, just struggles, can't handle a southpaw. Why the fight was taken, you ask me, I don't know. Yeah, it was a mandatory. Yeah, he was. I would have just moved up and fought Terence Crawford or someone. I would have.
Obviously, he will be moving up. He said, Josh Taylor said he'll be moving up to 147. The Terence Crawford fight is there. But Peter, I'm sure we'll catch up soon. We got a good, nice little, I think we're going for about 20 minutes here, so I have to end it here. But Peter, we'll catch up soon. I'll put all your links to socials in the description, YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, etc. But thanks for your time.
Good man, Fred. Good man, mate. You're doing well, Fred. And listen, you're the real news. And the real news will come to the top in the end. You know, the real news will come to the top in the end, because all certain other channels are doing is ruining it, ruining the sport, listening to what people's got to say, right? Question them. Ask these people what they got to say. Be a different interviewer. Be a different interviewer. Ask them, why did you say this? Why did you say that one? Ask them for the answer. Don't let them just answer a question. Ask them for the answer as well. But Fred, that's the top and bottom of it. Have a great day. Nice one.